All right, guys, I am Doug Brunner, and this is The Toast, and I am super excited today. Got a special guest here, a hero of mine. Little does he know, I'm trying to be kind of downplayed here because Lorenzo Neal, one of the greatest, actually probably the greatest fullback of all time in the NFL. 11 years, right?
Wow. Just add about 6 more.
You played 17 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, you said you played till you were 38 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was very, very blessed and very, very fortunate, Doug, to play as long as I did, and it was a great ride, so much fun, and it's interesting because we were having a conversation, off air and off mic, and you were having a great time, and now we come on air and you turn into Barry White. Hey, how you guys doing today? And come on, baby, it's me. Let's get it.
Hey, if you want it that way, then we'll be unfiltered.
Hey, shots fired.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Exactly. No, you're right. Yeah, I am super excited. I remember sitting with my cousins. If they're listening, they know we'd be sitting on the couch and watching Lorenzo Neal, my Uncle Rocky. Shout out to him. He was a huge fan of yours when you were playing at the Chargers, and we were big football fans growing up. I mean, I know you're a Fresno State hero there, and one thing I did not know was how many teams you played for.
Right. I tried to get in all 32, and it didn't happen. I got close. Got at least almost half, but it didn't quite get there.
That is unbelievable. And out of the teams, you told me, but fans, people listening, what were your 2 favorite teams? You said 2.
You know what? Yeah, I had the 2 favorite teams, but I tell you, I had so many great places that I got to stop and visit, especially coming from a small town in Lemoore, California. Lived, we didn't have a stoplight growing up. We were kind of like Madera, no stoplight, horse and buggy on the way to school. And, but no, really, no McDonald's, no nothing. And then, time I left, we had a stoplight. Lemoore's a lot bigger now, but growing up, small town. And so having the opportunity then to go to Fresno State and get drafted to New Orleans. So New Orleans was a neat place, very unique, Bourbon Street. Having that experience to go to New Orleans, especially being from California. Now you're going to New Orleans and the jambalaya and all the different foods. You're like, wow. I remember going there and I was kind of met a lot of guys, and it was a little different for a country boy like me, Lemoore. And I called Mom. I said, Mom, you got to come stay with me for a while till I get acclimated here. So made Mom fly out and come stay with me. And then the rest is history. Had 4 wonderful years in New Orleans, met a lot of great people, ate a lot of great foods. Really, really great place.
So New Orleans was pretty much your first job, right? So a lot of people go into new jobs. I mean, this is The Toast. This is the Ag Center podcast. A lot of, I would say, as I told you earlier, most of our viewers are young. Right. So your first job was New Orleans.
Yes.
You come from college, right?
Yes.
Like most people are coming out of college.
Right.
And it's a different environment, right?
Totally,
There's different people. It's not the same. I mean, I'm sure
So
you were
different.
still one of the toughest, but you're not the baddest like it was before, right?
Oh,
maybe in your mind, but
no. So I got so many stories. Where do I start? We have enough time to get into this because my mind's just wondering.
We'll do another one.
Yeah, you know what? We're definitely going to have to do another one
can do this
and just do a storytelling.
Exactly.
I got so many stories. So I'm in New Orleans and I'm there. It's a guy named Robert Pig Goff. We call him Pig. We had Sam Mills. A guy. It was a
bad linebacker.
Yes, the line. They were
51.
called the Dome Patrol.
Yep.
Ricky Jackson, Pat Swelling, Von Johnson. These linebackers were mean. I'm talking about they were mean boys. And I remember, so Brad Muster went to Stanford, played for Chicago Bears. He's older in his career, so the Saints bring him in and they bring me in. So he's injured. And so I'm the only fullback at practice, and I'm going against Von Johnson, Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson, and I'm like, oh man, this is just wearing me out. So we're going to have a day off, and we didn't have a night practice. So, the guys get together, they play some cards, and I said, hey, I'll bring you guys a couple beers, case of beer, some pizza. You guys take care of me, tomorrow at practice, and don't hit me. It's hard, It's brother-in-law. So I bring them pizza in there and beer and stuff, and I'm watching them shooting dice, and Ricky Jackson said, all right, Rook, that's enough. You brought the pizza and beer. Get out of here now. And I'm like, hey, I just want to watch you guys shoot some dice and play some cards. It's no big deal. And he's like, you heard me, get out of here. And everyone's looking, and you got to show some of your pride. You're like, I'm gonna go in a minute. And then he just reached over and Saw a little blade, a little knife, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to get out of here. So I knew at a very young age, and when I came into the league, dude, there was some different type of guys, different great men though, and they learned me so much. And that was that night that I said, "Hey, Mom, you might have to come stay with me. I don't know if I'm going to play here."
And I think that's the same message. You had a decision, right? Do I lay down? Or do I find this through? One of your vices you called was your mom. You need help sometimes, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young guys who are going into work, whether it's the NFL or whether it's going to work at an irrigation company or being a plumber or whatever, when you come out of that safe zone, which was college or whatever, and you come into the real world, which for you is the NFL.
Right.
It's time. It's time to make your message, and it's how you start out, right?
Right.
And you were very successful at that. I heard you.
Yeah.
I just learned you were the leading rusher for three games.
Yeah, like 2 weeks. Yeah, I was on fire, man. I had like a 73-yard run from scrimmage against Atlanta. First week averaged about 12 yards a carry. Your boy was getting it in, but absolutely, when you go to a job, you're trying to make a first impression, but. You know, I just advise any young folks that are out there listening and talk about my daddy always told me a couple things that he always told me. He said, son, look, opportunity is never lost. It's just given to someone else. So you guys are going to have plenty of opportunities out there, and some you're going to pass, some you're not. And you think that it becomes about you because it's so easy. We live in a world that's right now. You know, hey, I got how many likes I'm going to get on Instagram? How many, Snapchat and TikTok. And they're doing that. And you see people get so engaged in those things. And then, you know what? You come out of school or whatever it may be, and you're like, I deserve it right now. I need instant gratification. I need to be making more than the CFO and the CEO. That's not practical. That's not realistic. But because sometimes we've excelled, and you think because I went to school, now I just supposed to be the red carpet supposed to be rolled out for you, and it's not. It's about working. I have my son. He's at Purdue, graduating engineering program. Hammer up. Bowler down, hammer up. Graduated engineering Purdue. And smart guy. And, when I talked to him about, hey, look, God, it's great. Come out of college, you can get a good job, making great money, those things. But it's about the process.
Yep.
It's about the process. And sometimes individuals, and we were both young, Doug, and at times we thought, hey, we should be at the front of the line. No. It's about taking your time. It's about understanding it. It's about the leadership isn't given, it's earned. And before people can be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. You have to be able to know loyalty, education, accountability, discipline. Those are some of the acronyms, I think, for leadership, because too many people just want to be a leader. But leadership first, you got to be able to serve, I think, first.
Time.
Yeah.
Put in the time. When did you first, I don't know, but I'm going to guess by just this conversation right now, you were a team captain.
Yes, I've been team captains, and it's crazy, especially when we were in San Diego. We had a leadership group that Marty Schottenheimer put together, a group of guys, and even in Tennessee. And you looked forward to those moments that your peers and your coaches would put you in a position of authority, put you in a position that they felt that you had respect.
I love that.
And yeah, and it's and when we're in that position, you have to always know that, hey, guys are watching you. And I tried to lead by example, tried to be the first one in the weight room, the last one to leave, watch more film, do those things because those are habits that you want to develop. And, some guys, they come in the league and they have all the talent in the world, and that's like in the workforce. A person may be way faster than you at a job, but at the same sense, if they don't work at it, and if you stay consistent, that's how you build longevity, and that's how you build character. That's some of the things that I've seen so many guys come in the league and they were a flash. But because they didn't take care of their body, because they didn't do the things they needed to do physically, mentally, they didn't last. No sustainability.
You talked earlier about your father. He said, he gave you advice, which I like that, right? You have to earn your opportunities and things like that. Tell us about your family, where you grew up, Lemoore. So you are a California man.
Right, absolutely.
You live in Fresno now, right?
Yes.
But talk to us about your growing up in Lemoore.
Yeah, it's growing up in a small town, man. We had pigs, horses, chickens, cows, you name it. So did that driving the tractor, 580Ks, still got my backhoe, still do all those different things at times. But I remember just growing up being in that, in the environment that I was in. I remember I'd go to high school, I averaged over 100 yards a game, 16 tackles a game, going both ways. And I'd run for maybe 150, 180 yards one night, 17 tackles in that game. And, all during the week, I'd get up at 5 o'clock and feed the pigs, house have calves. You got to give them the bottle. They get the scows, so I'd done it all. And I remember having a big game, and then my dad that next morning banged on the door, rise and shine. Those cows and pigs don't care how many yards you ran for, boy. Get up, let's go. So those are so humble in the beginning, and those are those moments that said, I do appreciate this, but those are those moments that said, I want more. I still want this life, but I want to be able to put myself in a position to be able to do it because if I needed to do it, I didn't have to do it. So those are some of the things you learn at a young age.
You cannot be in. I have some other friends who played in the NFL, and they're telling me mentally how draining it is on a human being. And for you to play 17 years, I said 11 plus 6. I can do math a little bit.
We're all right.
To play 17 years, you have to be mentally tough, not just physically. I mean, I'm looking at you. How old are you, Lorenzo?
I just hit the 5-0.
I mean, you are in incredible shape. You look like you could still strap it on. I don't know. Would you be as good? One more game, I'm sure.
You got that song. I'm not
as good as I was.
Yeah, I said, I got one play in me, and then you better come get me. I'll be like, hey, come help me out, brother. You got me out here now. Pick me off the field. But no, I try to stay. I think that health is, if you want wealth, I think health is the number one thing. It's got to, those things that sometimes people don't take for granted is your health. And so try to make sure that I stay active, and try to stay on top of it, especially as you start getting older. But I think it's just interesting points that, you're talking about, being, how do you last that long and how do you, stay in the league that many years? It's about working. And my grandmother, her name was Viola. She was 97 years old when she died. Wow. And she was from Fort Worth, Texas. And her and my grandfather was Oliver. They came from Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, on the back of a truck. Cunny Man was the guy who would drive these families out. And it was my grandmother and grandfather and 6 boys and my aunt Bernice. And it was 5 boys at the time because one of my uncles hadn't been born. So they drive out and they would stay out in the island districts. And it was kind of like a compound where a lot of blacks would come. And this is where they sharecroppers, because it was huge. California is big, of course, but in Texas as well. So they all came out and they were sharecroppers. We ended up buying land and, farming and doing those stuff. But I remember my grandmother, she was always talking about how tough it was and how life and what she did. And she was a supervisor. And she was a supervisor over like 30 people out in the fields. And I remember graduating from, I was in high school, and I just got named not just Valley Athlete of the Year, not just Central Section Athlete of the Year, not just Northern California Athlete of the Year, but California Male Athlete of the Year. I always said,
you were also a wrestler, right?
Yes. So I wrestled.
Did you play other sports?
Yes, I did track and field. I wrestled. I won the state of California in wrestling my senior year, and played football. Did all, tried to do all the sports. I was crazy. And I remember my grandma was like, "Oh, congratulations! So you got all these accolades." And she was like, "Sit down." And she started telling me a story about her being a supervisor. And she had 30 people that she was under. And she chopped cotton, and after they would do all the chopping, get the weeds and stuff out, and then you pick cotton as well, and you have a bag, and you weighed it by the pound. And so she was over these people, and she was telling me, "You know what, son? I remember being pregnant with your Uncle Joe, and I had your Uncle Joe. I went to work on Wednesday, and that night I went in labor, had your Uncle Joe on Thursday, and Friday I was back at work." And I was like, "Grandma, why don't you just take, Saturday and Sunday and go back maybe Monday, give yourself," and she's like, "Because I had to be at work. I knew I was a supervisor, and it's about the accountability." And she said, "Because I didn't want to take a vacation. I didn't want to take a vacation when the boss is around." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "They'll realize how much they don't need you." And the reason why I said that is because earlier you said, how do you last this long? And what are the things, and you talked about some of your friends that said, hey, the NFL, they're in and out, have a cup of coffee, and they're done. Guy said it stands for National Football League. We said it stands for not for long because you don't last long. And so that was, I remember practicing and all the things that how I worked. it was because of my grandmother. It was because her telling me this story about going back to work and never take a vacation when the boss is around. Why not, grandmother? Because they'll realize how much they don't need you. Football, every job that you have, I don't care if it's football, I don't care if it's farming, I don't care whatever it may be. If you take enough vacation, if you're not around, they'll realize they don't need you. I don't care if you're the owner of the company, and if you're not putting in the time, and if you're not putting in the effort and you just let everyone else just do it, someone's going to take advantage of you. For 17 years, man, this football, it protected me. This football, it paid my rent. It paid my mortgage. It helped me buy many houses in Lemoore. It helped me set up my 401k. That's what that football did for me. But Darwin's Law, body in motion tend to stay in motion, body in rest tend to stay at rest. If no one came in this room for the next 20, 30 years, these hats will stay in that same pot. That football would be in that same spot. I'm saying that because to say, what did I do to protect care of that football? What are you doing? And that's working out more than anyone. That's working out 3 and 4 times a day, hiring, 2 and 3 trainers and lifting weights, doing all those things. That's what I did to take care of that football, because if you don't take care of it, it's not going to give you the life that you want.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Unfortunately, I didn't have a long NFL stint.
Little fullback though, baby. You had a little fullback, right?
Yeah, I did. But in my personal life and business, one thing I realized is if you want to get ahead of people, you have to do things that others won't do. A lot of young guys who we have just at the Ag Center and in general, a lot of our companies, we have just accelerating, really ambitious guys, right?
Sure.
But it's what you do when the lights aren't on. Going home, I mean, nowadays this doggone phone, whether it's good or bad for us, sometimes it's bad, can teach you a lot of things. Yep. I mean, I'll sit there and, YouTube, you go into a meeting and you don't know what they're talking about.
Sure.
Well, did you go home and actually learn it, or did you take time during the game to study, right? You got to do the after hours things to be special. I believe it. And, you don't always have to be the best athlete or the smartest person in the room. You just have to put in some different, hours and things like that to really excel.
Totally agree.
And I think what you just said was really beautiful. I mean, to be able to last in the NFL, and actually probably the most brutal position.
My neck got shortened, I think, 1.5 or 2 over those 16 years.
Who is the hardest? I mean, everybody. So we're talking on all the fun,
Right.
I mean, the lovey-dovey thing, the business side, but people are gonna, my brother's gonna ask, well, who's the toughest guy you ever played against?
Right. I mean, I had so many guys that were just tough, that you just looked at, you said, oh my God. I remember playing against Jesse Tuggle, he played for the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, yeah. He was just tough. But one of the guys who gave me fits, there's different guys that are just tough, because there was a lot of tough guys. But one of the guys that I was like, God, I hate playing against him, because he was kind of like me in the same, meaning that we weren't the tallest guys. And that's Zach Thomas, Miami Dolphins, because he was so short, it was hard to get underneath him, his leverage. And another guy who was like that, it was Al Wilson. Another tough linebacker, went to Tennessee, but then he played for Denver. Yes. Al Wilson, that dude was tough. So the taller linebackers that were 6'2", 6'3", cake.
You take
just get underneath them and just like, let's go for a ride. Where do you want to get off? Where do you want to get off the bus? But it's a lot of fun.
If there's one man who remembers you, who did you give the most punishing hit to?
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, I forget the name of this gentleman. We're in Tennessee with the Titans, and we have training camp. So training camp, you're getting up and you're practicing in the morning, you're practicing noonday, and you're practicing in the evening. So back in the day, it was 3 days. And it was this young linebacker. I think he was out of one of those max schools. And we're doing goal line. And Coach Fisher has us in there, and we're going hard goal line. And I remember coming and just smacking this guy. I mean, but then Coach wanted to see it, so we ran this play several times.
I get it, yeah.
And at the end of the practice, thinks everything's over. Coach calls me up, at the next practice, said, hey, you want to say sorry? And he was like, for what? The guy quit. He said he didn't want to play this game. And just, so you just, it's a game it's
Gladiator.
Yeah, it's a very, very physical game. It's very, very, strenuous on the body, and you have to merely set your mind that you want to, do this, because it's going and doing something every single time the same way. Guys quit, and that's what helped me being coached by Jim Sweeney, the great Jim Sweeney. He didn't care. He made us tough, and having that wrestling background, I knew that if I played long enough and I kept coming at guys time and time and time again, someone's going to quit. Either I'm going to quit or because everyone has a breaking point.
It's like a guy in sales. Yes. Keep coming. Keep coming. Eventually, they got to say yes. Or they're going to say, get the out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
But you just got to keep coming and coming. That's what I tell my guy. I ask, hey, how did it go today? He said, no. What time you going back tomorrow?
No, exactly. You got to get up. You got to have a tough skin, man.
Yeah.
You got to have tough skin, especially, when you're playing sports, because I'm going to tell you, look at, I talked about, just different things that we desire to do. And one of these shows that, will definitely kick it around is, Faith, Family, and Sports.
That's your new, let's talk about that a little bit.
And so I'm going to get a podcast going, Faith, Family, and Sports. And
I want to be on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, man. I want to be
that. Yeah. Got you, baby. Fullback love.
Yep.
And I just want to talk about, if I talked about Steph, if I said who's the best 3-point shooter the game's probably ever seen. Some would say Ray Allen. Some would say Larry Bird. Some would say Steph Curry. They said, who's the greatest basketball player? Some would say Bird. Some would say Magic, LeBron, whoever it may be. And you look at who's arguably the greatest quarterback, and you watch how many touchdown passes you cheer for Tom Brady.
Who is the greatest quarterback?
It's Tom Brady.
Thank you.
I
agree with that.
Everyone's talking about it, and I know Joe Montana, Joe's I would probably be second, but you got to see what Tom Brady's been able to do and continue to do it with consistency.
The GOAT, man.
He is the GOAT. But how many touchdowns you see this guy throw, but people cheer. But what about how many last second shots Steph miss and people still cheer, but they still say it's okay? How many times Tom Brady, unfortunately have thrown an interception and they might have lost the game. Just, people say it's okay. They still lift them up. They still cheer them. But why, if our brothers in Christ stumble or fall or do something, it's like, why aren't people still there to give them that support? Maybe you're not cheering them and that's what they don't cheer, but they still say, hey, Steph, it's okay. You got next. And that's what I think that life needs to be about, more faith, more family, more, more sports, but more that we have that mind to understand, to have that heart to want to move forward, have that heart of compassion, and to be able to have conversations and have uncomfortable conversations and challenge one another as young adults and as people. And that's what, you youngers out, the young people out there listening, that's what it's about. It's about life. If you don't have challenges and if you don't have opposition, then you're not living life. That's what it doesn't supposed to be. You can't win all the time, but it's about getting yourself up after adversity and, and trying again. Those are the things that's going to breed success. And hanging out with successful people. My dad said, another great one my dad always said, he said, son, if you hang out with 4 people that make $1, he said, pretty soon there'll be 5. If you hang out with 4 people that make $1, pretty soon there'll be 5. That means the environment that you hang around with, the individuals that you hang around, the sphere of influence they're going to have on you, you got to make sure you're around the right people, because those are going to be people that's going to elevate you. If you want to be elevated, you got to make sure you can stay around positive people as well.
So I love that, and I always tell people, you become who you hang out with, right? And I always, my dad, when I was probably 22, 23, I would hang out with some of the successful guys in our town. Some of those criminals. But yeah. But my dad
would, no names, though.
Yeah, my dad would say, he kind of like, why are you hanging out? And I was always wanting to be like those guys. I not in every aspect, but just
sure.
I respected them in business and everything they did, and I always wanted to be at that table.
Sure.
Right?
So much knowledge.
When you're little,
yeah,
you go to the Thanksgiving,
yeah,
and the kids sit on one table and the grown-ups sit on the other table, and you can't wait for the year that you're old enough to get to go to the grown-up table.
Graduate, right. And
I look at that in business.
Yeah.
And I say that to a lot of young guys, not in arrogance. You can't sit at my table right now. You know, I want you to.
Yep.
But you got a long way to go, right? Good. And I think that where young kids got to go, and what you're saying is put in the work.
Yes.
You put in to be one of the greatest of all time in the NFL, future Hall of Famer. You know, you've been at Hall of Fame ceremonies. You are part of creating a Hall of Famer. LaDainian Tomlinson. You were his blocker for many Pro Bowlers. Right. And I would say if LaDainian Tomlinson was sitting here today, maybe we should invite him. Yeah. He would say, the reason I'm there is because of Mr. O'Neal.
Yeah.
And in order to be successful, remember this, who's ever listening, you can't do it by yourself.
Amen.
You cannot.
That's strong. Absolutely.
So when you're talking about faith had to help you get through 17 years in the NFL.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's been times that I didn't know if I was going to make it through a season, injuries, or I didn't know, was this it? And you wrestle with, any job that you have, especially if it's a physical job, farming can be physical, and there's a lot of jobs that can be physical. And there's a lot of jobs can be mentally straining, and you have to learn how to be able to deal with your own inner self. And what I mean by that, at times you don't want to go to work. At times you don't want to get up. At times you're saying, you know what, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to hit snooze one more time. At times you're like, look, I'm not going to get that report done. Times you're going to be, you know what, I can call it. I can wing it. I can go get help this way. And you do those things enough time, it becomes a habit. And now you have not built a sustainable foundation. And that's what it was about football. It's about getting up and saying, no, I'm going to be the first one there. I'm getting up at 5. I'm going to be there. I want to make sure that I'm on the treadmill for those young guys seeing. I want to let those guys see that I'm the first one in the team meeting room where I'm already watching films saying, this is guys doing this in year 10, year 11, year 12. Those are those little things that you have to, initiate and develop those type of habits if you want to be successful. And I tell everyone, especially when I talk to a lot of young individuals about just life. And as you say, from 18 to 24, and maybe even 25, you're in college, and 23, 24, you find, and then from 24 or 25 to 30, usually you're in and out of jobs from 25 to 30, taking a job on, seeing if you like it, maybe up. And then usually from 30 to 40, you in your profession, you are doing the job that you want to do, 30 to 40. And during that time, that's when you usually buy a house. You're usually doing that from 30 to 40. And then at 40 to 50, those are your money-making years. Those are that money where you're putting away money. You're thinking about when I get ready to turn 50 or 55, I'm going to have enough money, disposable income to buy another house, to buy another business, or just start to putting away the money because you're thinking about the latter part. That's usually how things go. But you think about how it is now. 18 to 25, you're in school, and you're 25 and 30. This is the job you want. This is where I'm going to be. I need to be making $300,000. I need to be making more than him. And think how things has changed. It's usually 18 to 25. You're in and out of school, and then 24 to 30. You're trying to find what is it? What's your niche?
Still living with mom and dad.
Yeah. And then at 30, that's what it's like. Okay, this is the profession. This is what I'm at. So I just think that people have to patience also as well in this process.
I agree. So you're going to start a podcast. It sounds like from our early talks, you're going to be challenging people. You're not upset. We talked about it. I was talking about my cousin, Jordan Deepersloot. He has a church, Via Church, and he was talking about, he had a sermon the other day, which I thought was spectacular. Shout out to Jordan. If anybody ever listens, check out Via Church. Just incredible sermons by him, inspirational to the community of Fresno. One thing he talked about was quit the complaints. Let's make this world a better place. It sounds like, Lorenzo, you are going to open a challenge to some people. I don't know whether it's through philanthropy, whatever it is, but you're kind of, I wouldn't say tired. You're going to challenge people to kind of get off their butt, ass, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And through faith and strength,
absolutely.
Quit the complaints. Let's make things better. You don't have to do that. You can chill. You can kick back, but it sounds like it's a passion of yours.
It really is, man. And I think that we just, especially now, we're in times that you look at and you're like, man, you look at America, you look at where the country's at, and you're like, man, you got red and blue, and you're watching families argue of who's right and who's wrong, and the conversation is so broken, and it's like you're scared to be around family members because they might believe a different way. What happened to peaceful conversations with family members? And it's like crazy. I remember talking to some of my family, like, why do you believe that? I'm like, listen, I said, you don't have to be red or blue to do what's right. I said, doing what's right, you don't need to be Democrat, probably just be a good person. Those are simple things. But now, you have a lot of people with self-interest. You look at politics and you look at a lot of things that are taking place, and you're like, man, where are we going as a country? And it's like, I just want people to wake up and say, look, I need to challenge myself, learn the facts before I just insinuate, understand, hey, look, what's wrong with healthy conversation? What's wrong with saying, look, I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, should we talk about equality and all those different things? I remember making a post, and I said, it was a Black Lives Matter, and I said, Black Lives Matter, and I said, but Christ died on the cross, so all lives matter. And I got a bunch of my boys, oh man, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I'm like, dude, relax. It's yes, every life matter, and yes, there's things that are go on that that shouldn't go on, and I totally understand that. And I tell a lot of my brothers and black brothers and brown brothers and white brothers, I'm like, look, people have to take initiative of their own life as well. I'm like, when you see in Chicago 10, 15 people die in a weekend, babies shot in gunfire, where is the outcry? Where is the outcry? And that's the thing. I just want consistency. And then, of course, and yeah, do I believe in police reform? Do I believe that? Yes. But you got to realize that you're more likely to be killed by a black man and you're a black man than a white guy. And it's just like, but we have to, you're more likely to be killed. A young black man is more likely to die by an own black man than an officer. And here's the thing. I'm not condoning it by no stretch of imagination. Yes, should there be more police reform? Should it help people organize and understand who they are, that we're all humans? Absolutely. There's things that happen. We get it. But still, that shouldn't be the main reason. We should be wanting to be inclusive. We should want to get along because it's the right thing to do. And I just think that my black, brown, it doesn't matter, white, we all have to come together and stop being divided by so many little issues because we are all one people. We're all going to bleed the same. So until we come together collectively and stop screaming both sides so loud that you don't want to get nothing done, this is going to continue to get worse.
Standstills don't work, yeah.
Right. So
I agree with you.
That's where I'm at, brother.
That's beautifully said. Really. One of
you.
the best said in a long time. I think we as a country, you're right. Our silence, it's becoming a silence because we're afraid.
Yes.
Now, if you were going through the line and was afraid to hit a linebacker, you would have lost your damn job.
Absolutely.
And that's one last question, or I could feel I could talk with you forever. It's just like we're gonna do that. We got to
do it again. Yeah, we're just getting started.
Tell me about one of your most inspirational coaches or coach, because to have the attitude you have right now, it had to start with your grandma. You talked about her.
Oh, yes.
Your parents had to be just tough and just amazing people.
Oh, yeah.
Just your family in general.
Yes.
Right? Your dad was a pastor.
Yes. More.
Yep. So you were influenced totally the right way. But along the way, we have mentors in life.
Sure.
I've had some coaches. I think people have bosses or other mentors. I've had quite a few that I feel I can call at any time. Was there a coach or something that maybe changed your life a little bit? The way you're thinking right now, the way you're talking, your attitude, because sometimes you almost need that coach, that inspirational person to get out of bed every morning. Because you kind of in the back of your head know, I can't let that person down. I can't let that. Was there an individual or somebody like that? Because you were just, I just feel. Seriously, I really feel it sitting here.
Oh, thanks,
the
bro.
Strong passion about life and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that, I think we're all born with the unique ability to lead, and we're all born with the unique ability to stand up in tough times. It's just about who's nurturing it. And I was fortunate enough to have a mother and father, stay together in nature, and also grandparents, and I had a good nucleus of people that I could get information from. And there was a guy in Lemoore that I don't know if he passed several years ago, but he was my coach from like 7 years old up to like 14. Joe Avila.
Okay.
And great guy, and played with Jimmy Joe Avila. A lot of people know him. He passed horribly in a traffic accident about 3 years ago. So he was one of those guys that kind of made me understand football. He played football with my dad, and Joe Avila, so he was my coach, and he was kind of that in my ear and how good I could be. And I remember just some of
pushed you.
Yeah, they kept pushing me and say, look, you can be better than that. And just and getting to college and having guys like Jim Sweeney. I mean, Jim Sweeney was so freaking tough. He's like from Brewton, Montana, and he was an Irish guy, and he would like, I'll give you, I don't know if people know Jim Sweeney, they would understand this. He's like, look, my dad was a coal miner from Brewton, Montana. You guys don't know what it's like to be tough. You got me? I mean, he's crying. He's got the team up, and hey, look, come here. There's a guy named Sonny on the team. Sonny wasn't playing that well, and he's on scholarship. Hey, Sonny, come here. You come here. Hey, look, you're down there south thinking you're playing football. You're not down there. You're here. I'm like, if he said things he said now, he'd be in jail. And he said, hey, Sonny, come here. Look, you're a lie and a thief. You lied. You told us you could play football. You're a thief because you're stealing the scholarship. So, I mean, oh, my God. Hey, Jim Sweet.
But you love that shit.
Oh, my God. Do you love it? Those
Yeah.
are those moments.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you guys another story, too. I mean, because all you guys know who little Ronnie Rivers is,
Yep.
playing at Fresno State, run back.
Stud.
So his dad and I played together. So Ron Rivers played at Fresno State with me, and he and I played together. Played running back, fullback, and blocked for Ronnie Rivers, Anthony Daigle, and his son's at Fresno State now. Great running back, going to probably get drafted next year. So we're in a hotel on Saturday. So Saturday, games that night.
Yep.
So Saturday, you go to pregame meal, and everyone's quiet. You eat, and coach wants you focused. Don't want guys messing around. So I'm sitting by like 2 straight smoke from Ronnie, and I say something kind of funny, and I see coach, and I'm like, I stop him, but I see. He sees Ron laughing, and I turn away, and I'm not getting in that. I was like trying to play it off. He comes over to Ron, and he has his cowboy ring on, his cowboy big ring, and he thud right in the head. His head swelled up instantly. We're like, oh my God. So, I mean, Sweeney was so friggin' tough, but I think that he was such an amazing coach, such an amazing father figure to so many guys.
Yeah.
Unbelievable guy. Just the stories that I have about Jim Sweeney and Kevin Sweeney, just their family, the Sweeney family in general. So you're talking about guys who had impacts in my life. Coach Jim Sweeney did in the pros. I had so many coaches that touched me. Jeff Fisher, of course. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great Tony Dungy, who's just a great man.
Yeah, he is.
I had Fisher, Jim Mora. I remember so. God, we do need to do another one because I got.
Well, I do have to ask you one thing right now. I'm going to pause it. Music City Miracle.
Yes. The Music City Miracle. This is a play that we would practice every single Friday. We call it the home run throwback. And every Friday into practice, you'd get back there. Alan Lowry was our special teams coach. And so we say, let's do this play. The ball's going to be kicked.
Wait, what team are we on?
We're on the Titans.
Okay.
We're on the Titans. So, but every single week, the Tennessee Titans but every week. So you got to realize I think we don't even lose. We lose like one or two games that whole year, and we're just on a roll. And we do this play every Friday. You kick the ball off after practice. It's the last play. You kick it off. I throw it across the field. So the ball's usually kicked short because it's the end of the game. You need a great play. So guys would catch it. Would have Dyson on the other side of the field. You could throw it across to him. And then we set up a wall, a kickoff return wall, and everyone's going to go where the ball is. So it's 17 seconds. We're playing against the Buffalo Bills. We never ran this play. Every week we're practicing it. Every week, every single week, never, not a week. And he said, now we're going to do it, guys.
I know this. So I got reminded of this, but you just had to tell me the craziest ding play of all time, Sam. Sam sent it to me right now while we're talking.
Is that right?
I know this play in my mind, but keep going.
Yes.
I can.
Oh, do you feel okay?
Yeah.
But
I'm playing it now. I feel it.
So this is Friday. So Friday, you don't have pads on. It's almost a half day. So I could get the ball and I could throw the ball if I wanted, or pitch it back. So I got my neck roll on. It's game day. I got the neck roll. I'm shoulder pads.
You got the neck roll.
Yes, I'm 41. Yep, I'm swole, baby. So I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna throw this ball. I'm not gonna throw it. So I remember Coach Fisher grabbed us up. We're beating Buffalo. They freaking kick a field goal to go ahead up by 4, I think it is, with like 17 seconds. And so here's the play. Coach calls it. Frank Wycheck. I tell Frank, come here. I said, they're going to kick this ball short.
He's got the neck roll on too.
Yes. And I'm like, but Frank's way better. He could throw the ball way better than me. And I said, Frank, they're going to kick this ball short. Come and get it. I didn't tell everyone in the huddle. I didn't tell everyone because again, the guys would have been like coming to me thinking, oh, I didn't want no one to know. So I told Frank before, I said, Frank, come get the ball. They're going to kick it to me. I'll make the block. You do it. Sure enough, the ball's kicked and it seems like slow motion. It's flying. I'm like, oh God. I make sure my arms are tucked. I'm like, please do not drop this. Cause I didn't have the best hands. And I catch it, make a couple steps, pitch it back to Frank, make a block. And I just hear the crowd just start, gets louder. And just, bro, it was the most craziest play, the craziest thing that ever happened. To be a part of that play was unreal.
Just your heart. Like
you think it's over.
You're not watching the ball. You're just knocking people
right,
out.
Exactly. I'm like, man, I can't watch. I'm just going to. And it was because right before the play, I mean, it was so quiet in the stands because we were losing.
Yeah.
We were undefeated. We haven't lost a game at that stadium. That was the first year the stadium was open in Nashville. So we didn't lose a game there. And we're playing at home. And it was so quiet that I heard a noise. And I looked over in the corner and I saw a mouse pissing on a sponge. Not good?
That play was insane. But I could just feel the crowd, right? You're just, knowing you're just probably dropping people left
just
and right.
dropping them. Just like, and then like,
who's next?
Yeah, who's next? And then the play happened. After it's over, you look and you're like, oh my God. Did that just happen? And then they go into, instant replay.
Yeah, no flags.
No flags on the field. But then they have to replay it. So we're just in there. Oh my God, was it a lateral? Everyone's just talking back and forth. And it came out for us. So we were really happy.
That is so
I'm excited about it now. Actually.
Yeah, heck yeah. Sip of water. So we got to end it because otherwise we're going to keep going
it's
on.
It's over already?
No, we could go. We're going to do it again. But I do need to invite somebody up here. The best dressed man in the room. Aaron, come up here.
Aaron
Alagi.
Yes. Look at this guy.
I think he wants to take his shirt off.
I think so. He's pretty in the face and slim in the waist. Look at him. He's shining.
So Aaron,
my brother,
hooked me up with Lorenzo, which I'm so stoked because this was just so fun. And there's a lot of podcasts, but some are this is fun. Mm-hmm. And Aaron, I'm proud of you. Aaron came. How long you been with me now?
For about a year now.
Yeah. So a year, was working for one company, got shifted to another company, and now another company. So you're on your third. And I'm proud of him because patience is what you talked about today. Aaron, stay patient at everything you do because he was on a sprayer. He lost a job or wherever he was working before. He's like, dude, I just want to work. And it was during the pandemic. He could have took unemployment. I really appreciate that. He just freaking stayed going. And one thing along the way, he's been mentioning this for a year, how he loves his friendship with you. I know you're an inspiration to him. And I think young people out there should. Aaron, how old are you right now?
43.
43 years old. He's done a lot of different things in his life, but he's just stayed focused. And right now, every time I talk to him, I love talking to Aaron because he's one thing about Aaron, and it's very infectious at our facility. He's always got a smile. He's always got thumbs up, and he's just going no matter what he's doing. And I think that's really impressive to a lot of the young guys I know who are walking around with you because you put a foot up their butt if they're walking slow, and you're just always happy. You're always just going full throttle. And I first of all, I thank you for yourself, for what you do for our companies, as well as bringing a friendship here now with Lorenzo Neal, who has been a lifelong, idol of mine, especially when I was playing football. Mine, so, Aaron, I want to thank you. Lorenzo.
Aaron, you're the man, baby.
I've been looking the whole time. If you can see on YouTube, Lorenzo Neal's finger is probably the most messed up thing I've ever seen. So we're going to do this again. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. What a fun time. We're out.